नवीना कभी हर कपल चाहता है कि शादी टूट जाए।
औरतों के लिए इतना आसान नहीं होता रिश्ते खत्म कर देना।
मिलने को आती है या आइसक्रीम खाने को आती है?
Hello, I'm Manushree.
And I'm Nawina.
And today we are going to be reviewing Ankahi Kahaniya, which is a 2021 Hindi movie.
So this movie is actually an anthology of 3 movies who are directed by.
And yeah, it's 3 films, different types of love stories, before marriage, after marriage, and during marriage. And so it's directed by, the first one is directed by Abhishek Chaubey, the second one is directed by Saket Chaudhary, and the last one is directed by Ashwini Iyer Tiwari. Hopefully I said those names right, but those are the 3 directors for this movie.
So the first movie is definitely the most unique out of all of them. It's basically this sari shop salesman who has mannequins at his shop, and they bring in a female mannequin, and he kind of falls in love with the mannequin because he's really lonely in Mumbai because he went there for a job, but there's no one that he can rely on.
Yeah, he has a very redundant lifestyle, same schedule, so all of a sudden when there's a different female mannequin, he starts acting all shy and timid around the mannequin, and it's very weird to watch for us, especially you never think of a love story with a mannequin, like an inanimate object, but we had a love story with a mannequin, and he starts taking the mannequin out like on the beach, like to the beach, and riding in autos
you can
with
tell
her.
he's really lonely.
He's really lonely, we can tell in the movie. So he falls in love with this mannequin, and he names her Pari, which means angel in Hindi, and he starts referring to her as an actual human being, and that's what we see in the movie. So a love story with the mannequin, and then eventually his co-workers find out that he's in love with the mannequin, and so he has to go back to his village.
Yeah, he gets fired, he goes back to his village. Then he meets his childhood friend who he always used to play with, and their marriage is arranged. So he goes back to the shop and kind of wants to have a closing, like a closure with the mannequin, if that makes sense.
And so Pari no longer is in the sari shop she goes to, or like she's moved to a different shop, but now he's ready to get married to someone he actually loves and not a mannequin, and so we get to see it, and the last scene is just him finally saying goodbye and thanking the mannequin for always listening to him. But it's a very sweet, even though it's an incredibly unfamiliar concept, it's a very sweet movie.
So the second movie is about this love story between 2 young people, and it's actually quite a unique story because they both have terrible lives at home. One works at the theater and is the man who projects the movie. Yeah, and this girl continues to lie to her parents and goes to the movies just to see him, not even really talk to him, just see him.
Yeah, and the girl is from a slum, and we see there is a horrible portrayal of men in the slum, and it's true, but she lives in a very patriarchal society, and so we see the very disrespectful men in her slum, and she's not allowed to go to college or anything like that. Her brother can go to college, and so she frequents the cinema often to escape from her parents, but eventually she frequents the cinema for a different reason.
Yeah, and it's him, obviously, to see him, and then one day, what we think is happening, they decide to elope. That is our point of view, because they both meet up and they go to a train station, and it ends very surprisingly, so I won't tell you how it ends because it is a really cool ending. It's my favorite ending out of all of them.
Yes, and I can definitely say the second movie was very similar to Kadal, the movie, the Tamil movie, and honestly a really good movie, really sad movie, but really good movie, love story. So the second one is really about love before marriage, and then the first one is about love around the age of marriage.
Yeah.
But the second one is based on in the 80s, and so they have they capture the aesthetic of the 80s, and I think it's really cool. And I can talk more about that when we speak about cinematography, but the second one was also really, really well done.
So the third movie was one of those movies that you could feel better while watching, because the first one I just didn't know how to feel about. The second one kind of made you feel sad in a way. It made you just feel kind of solemn,
unsatisfied.
Yeah, just very unsatisfying, but it was really good. It really helped. Anyway, the third movie was more happy, even though it was about cheating. It was about this girl whose husband she found out was cheating on her whenever, I'm not gonna explain how, but she found it out.
It's a very cool way though, the way they reveal it in the movie.
Okay. So basically, he gets her jewelry for their anniversary, and the clasp is broken. So she calls the people, and she's like, "It's broken. What do I do?" And then the man on the line says, "Are both pieces broken?" So that means he bought the same necklace for another girl, and that's how she figures it out. And she contacts this girl's husband when she finds out who the girl is, and talks to him about what's happening.
And they both join forces as to find out how their spouses started cheating in the first place. And it is really cool. Like, it's almost like a investigation kind of thing. And so these two join forces, and basically the woman is really, she's really trying to rebuild the marriage, and so she doesn't want to leave her husband. She wants to be able to forgive him. But then the man is actually like, we need to end this. Even though he has children and everything, he cares more about his personal feelings and his respect, so he wants to end things once and for all. But then we see, and obviously we don't want to spoil that entire movie for you, but we see that in the end,
they have a change of mindset, and with each other, they help the other person realize what they actually want. Like, besides all their anger and frustration, they really think about it and really decide what they want, and they both have a change of mindset, which is another really cool ending, and I thought it was really nice.
Yes, and this one is all obviously about trying to gain love after marriage, and that's an incredibly revolutionary concept, which I'm seeing a lot in Indian movies now, and I think we should definitely keep doing that, trying to show that, love can also happen after marriage as well. So yeah, but those are the 3 movies. So as for cinematography, I think what was really noticeable was in the first and second movie. The first movie, we had some really cool shots where the mannequin actually looked like an actual woman in some shots, like silhouette shots, and I thought that was really well done. And then the second movie, since it's based on the 80s, like around the 80s, the costumes, the set design, everything is so much very 80s, and I think it's very cool. There's also some scenes where these two obviously low-class teenagers, low-class youth, the young adults, they basically have this feeling where as if, when they both are in love with each other, looking at each other, it seems as if they're both movie stars, as in the woman's like a heroine and then the guy's like the actual hero, and it's really cool. Like, he has sunglasses and like a really cool costume.
Which he doesn't realize.
He like smokes and drinks his soda. I think that is really funny, and I mean, Nawin and I weren't alive back then to see like those really funny movies, or movies with that kind of motif, but I do think in this one it was very cool. Like, and my parents the entire time were like, "Oh, I remember this ad, this commercial, this food," So I mean, I think this really appealed to people who were actually alive in the 80s, and it really captured the entire vibe of the 80s. And then for the third one, cinematography was, I think there were some really nice still shots, I think, of like, the jewelry when she opens the jewelry and everything. Yeah. So it's really well done. And again, the third movie is really all about communication between the two characters, and so I do think the cinematography for that one is noticeable. However, for the first and second movie, I do think cinematography really stood out.
And for the music, I think what stood out to me most is in the first movie, there's some weird music. It was like this vocal thing. I don't know, I think that was a mistake. But other than that, there was this really nice, mild music that just kind of went with the whole closure idea, and he was happy now because he had an actual girl to be in love with. So that was really nice music. And then in the second movie, at the end scene, there was this resolving music that I really liked. The third movie, I did not really notice anything. I don't even know if there was music.
And the plot of the third movie was already like so overtaking, like that you can't really notice the music.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, that's good. And anyway, we're gonna rate this movie an 8 out of 10. It was really, I really enjoyed watching this movie, the first and the second one. The third one, I actually kinda was a little confused for a lot of it, so it was kinda difficult for me to understand. However, really it depends on the viewer. So Nawina really liked the third movie, but I personally I would have to say my favorite one would either have to be the first or the second one. Maybe the second one, it just might be because of who I am as a person, but I just really loved, all 3 of them were really well done, and we love watching anthologies. I think those are really fun to watch, so, because they're, they're bite-sized movies, and they convey a lot of information. So we're rating this an 8 out of 10, and, we recommend that you guys watch it as well. So as always, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
She's using reverse psychology to get you.
No, it's true. It's terrible.
It's reverse psychology.
You ruined it.
You ruined it. You ruined it.
Okay, it's enough. You ruined it.